Hi everyone, it's me, your resident nurse Frandy 1234 here, joined by,
Your Dr. Robert, aka Whacka.
and today we are doing the Initiate Carry Power Rankings for the lower division. And today we're not before we start, I just want to preface with this. There are no bad teams, and if there is a quote-unquote worst team, that doesn't mean you're not going to do good in this season. These power rankings are purely meant just for speculation, or conversation, or things to talk about on the Discord server. Link in the description. And regardless of where you're ranked, regardless of what score we give you, it does not matter. You can still do great in the season. You just gotta play well. And without further ado, we got no more time to waste. Let's move on to these power rankings.
All right, and just
Yeah.
a quick note: these power rankings are not actually in order; they're just in order of draft. So we will be posting your guys' scores after the video comes up in the server. Just want to get that
Yep.
out there. So
Mm-hmm.
moving on with number one, we got Tox. Do you want to start us off with Tox?
Yeah. Ox has Dragapult, Tyranitar, Excadrill, Primarina, Electros, Victini, Buzzwole, Licky Licky, and Weezing. Now, first thing I noticed with this team is that this team has really good offensive synergy. I love Dragapult, Tyranitar, Excadrill. Just immediately puts out a lot of offensive pressure. And despite having a glaring speed gap from 142 to 100, this team makes up for it by having a lot of speed control with Sand. Like, even if it's not much, it's still Sand. There's a lot of T-Wave on this team with Dragapult, and well, okay, really, it's just Dragapult.
T-Tar, and I
This
think
team has
Eel.
enough. Oh yeah, Eel and T-Tar. I forget T-Tar gets such a big move pool,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
but
he actually has some decent Scarfers too. I've seen a lot of Scarf Primarina,
yeah,
Scarf Buzzwole, and then obviously like Dragon Dance, T-Tar.
obviously Scarf Victini as well. Can't forget to mention that one.
Right. So overall, he is.
And like,
He, sorry.
go first.
I was
Oh,
gonna say
you're
he has a
okay.
lot of good mons there. I think the one problem I see is that he has no defog, and it's just Excadrill for removal.
Yeah, there's actually some. Yeah, that's pretty much the only problem with this team, honestly. Like, this team has a lot of offense to put out. It's really just that one glaring weakness to, a lot of hazard stack and extra drill being your only removal, which you don't want to be running extra drill defensively on this team very much because of how hard you're going in with the sand because you drafted Tyranitar. I feel like this team would be better if it just had Mandibuzz Gigalith instead of Tyranitar, but
Yeah, I
that's
can agree.
that decision's completely up to Talk, so I'm excited to see how he does with this team.
Yeah, of course. And I don't think I have anything else to say. I think he has good pivoting. I think T-Tar and Drill are great rockers. And he has a lot of other good breakers with Prim Buzzwole, so I think we're good there. And Weezing is also
I feel
also
like
a
this
really good
team gets
option to
a bit
stop some
pressured
things.
by water types. Like, for example, if this team has to play a rain team, it's kind of just screwed. Like, the only water resists on this team are Dragapult and Primarina, and I feel like that isn't enough to, like, really carry you against a lot of offensive waters, like, Urshifu Rapid Strike. Yeah, obviously Dragapult completely covers Urshifu Rapid Strike, but I don't think you want to be running your Dragapult offensively, and Primarina has no recovery and is physically frail. Well, not frail, but like not as physically bulky as it is specially bulky.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
obviously stuff like that can counter its weather, like Barrascuda, Mega Swampert, all of that. And anything that gets Aqua Jet, really. But I feel like even against those physical threats, it has Buzzwole there to cover it. So I don't think it's that much of a glaring weakness. So overall, I give this team like a 7.5, 8 out of 10, something like that. What do you think?
I can agree with that. I think he should add definitely grass type. He could even grab like I think Serpir's gone, but like something like Serena, Decidueye, or Dhelmise. Maybe not
Mm-hmm.
Decidueye or Dhelmise with Pult, but one of like Serena could be nice because it would offer another removal option, plus a grass type, which doesn't make you as weak to like rain teams. Um,
Mm-hmm. or water, just in general.
Yeah, yeah, water in
And I
general is
definitely
like,
feel like this team can do a lot of stuff. It's just very heavily, brought back down from those weaknesses. But I definitely feel like this team can be very, very successful depending on how Tox plays it, and that goes for most teams on this list. So
and I can't talk. I'm sure he's probably glad he has Excadrill as his ground when he also has his two Levitate mons are Wheezing and Eel. So he doesn't have to worry about having to face like Scarf, Moldbreaker, Drill, which is good.
I mean, I feel like
Not
a
that
Buzzwole is just enough to make your team
that's
automatically
very
just
true.
have no ground weakness. And the Buzzwole in general is just perfect for this team because of Tyranitar. It actually covers that thing perfectly.
Yep, I like the synergy there. So I think moving on, we are going to go to Jeg with the
Who
Urshifu,
has first
Corviknight,
single
Gengar.
strike, Corviknight. Oh, you want to do it? You can do it. You
Yeah,
do it. You love Jet. This
Shifu,
is your
Corv,
moment.
Gengar, Slowking, Volcarona, Diancie, Gligar, Mega Ampharos, Ambipom, Tangela, Cryo. Pretty interesting squad here. Actually covers every single type, plus flying twice, I guess.
Yeah,
So,
but this is an example of where type diversity isn't everything. Because the dark type and the normal type are both very, very offensive. And this team's ghost resists are an Urshifu single strike and an Ambipom. Not exactly the best to cover ghost types. So he's lucky that he has Gengar on his team, because it's definitely one of the
yeah,
best ghosts.
Gengar is like the
Any
ghost
offensive
type.
ghost actually just really screws over this team.
Yeah, Gengar is definitely like the ghost type to watch out for. But he has like Slowking can take a hit, Volcarona can Quiver Dance and start taking hits, and Cryo also doesn't really care about Shadow Balls as much, which is okay. But it would have been nicer if he had a better Ghost Resist for sure, even a better Rock Resist even.
Yeah, Rock also really if this team runs into Mega Aerodactyl, I don't know how much it can really do about it because of the other glaring weakness on this team, which is knockoff. A lot of this team's bulk hates having to run into knockoff, except for Corviknight, I guess. But even that thing doesn't appreciate losing its leftovers or helmet. But Slowking is a psychic type, so it has to run Colbur a lot. Volcarona hates losing boots. Every member on this team in general, because Urshifu doesn't like to lose its item. Gengar is a ghost type. Volcarona hates losing boots. Diancie hates losing leftovers, which is its only source of recovery. Gligar hates losing Eviolite. Mega Ampharos isn't really a knockoff switch-in, and you're not going to be bringing that thing to most weeks anyway. Ambipom hates losing its item. Tangela hates losing Eviolite, and Cryogonal hates losing boots.
I'm going to say right now,
this team in general is just super knockoff weak, and something like Crocodile absolutely destroys this team.
Yep. I will say right now though that Jeg does not care if Mega Ampharos is pretty bad. He will bring it anyways. But yeah, it doesn't really excuse the lack of a knock switch in overall. So but I think he still has a decent squad. He has pretty decent removal and Gligar, Cryo, and Corv. Some good rockers with Gligar, Diancie. I mean,
I don't think this team has actually I don't think this team actually has very good offensive synergy outside of Urshifu Gengar, because Urshifu is the only physical breaker on this team outside of Ambipom.
Yeah.
And as with Ambipom isn't exactly a mon you're going to be bringing every week. But I know Jeg loves to bring his low tier, so we'll see what he can do with this team.
And in terms of
overall, though, I'd give this team around a 5. I definitely feel like if Jeg plays this correctly, obviously because of Urshifu, can definitely be successful with the team. I just think that this, if you can play around its bulk correctly, knockoff and with just knockoff in general, you can definitely prevent this team from snowballing you with Urshifu. It's definitely going to be very hard though, this is going to be how a lot of players learn how to use things like knockoff effectively in this division, because in bottom div, this is where people are starting to learn how to use those effective tactics correctly.
Yeah, I can definitely see
it's going to be a learning experience for everyone. So I'm glad that Jeg that Jag specifically drafted like this because initially looking at it, you would think, oh, this is one of the best teams, you know, you can barely do anything about this.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can exploit this team's weaknesses, I definitely feel like it's a lot easier to cover than initially
Yeah.
thought. But
It
I'm overall
definitely
glad that Jag drafted like this. Like
it's
I said
definitely a
before.
noob destroyer team, that's what I can say. Like a lot of
I wouldn't
people
say
a lot of
noob
people
destroyer
struggle.
because I feel like even some, you know, somewhat seasoned players still don't use knockoff correctly. But
That's fair.
this is, you know, this shows the power of knockoff. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm glad people are gonna be forced to like get a knock, you know, question, you know, do I have a knockoff user? If so, what is it? Like, this is why you need good knockoff because teams like this will destroy you if you don't have it.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely agree there.
Alright, so overall, what do we give this team? I give it a 5.
I don't remember what you gave it, but I would say
I
probably
gave
also
I just said I gave it a 5.
yeah, I would say like 5 or 6. It's really just the knockoff weakness, and then in general, I think both of your flying types, or both of like your steel and your ground not being like a rock resist could be an issue when Shifu's your only rock resist, but it's not a huge deal. Like Korv still
Mm-hmm.
doesn't give a crap. Tangela still doesn't give a crap, or Diancie
Mm-hmm.
even. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think we can move on. I think next up we got Mike with Mew, Celesteela, Komodo, Mega Blastoise, Alolan Muck, Darmanitan, Serperior, Swellow, Stunfisk, and Clefairy. And I kind of like this team
Similar
actually.
to Jeg's team, I feel like initially looking at this team, you would think, oh my god, this team is top 3. This team is so amazing, and you know you can barely do anything about it. And the top 3 definitely suggested that that would be the case. Mew, Celesteela, Komo is beautiful. I love it.
And then you
Like,
look
that
at
is
the
my type
rest.
of team. I would draft that top 3 in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and then you look at the rest and you kind of see most of them, other than Clefairy, I guess, are pretty one-dimensional, I'd say. Like Muck.
Your fairy type is Clefairy.
Yeah, well, my fairy type is Clefairy as well, but I'm just saying Clefairy's versatile.
I mean, that doesn't mean that it's not an issue. Just because you do it doesn't mean it's not an
Well,
issue.
no, it's not an issue. I'm saying it's versatile. I'm saying the rest of his mons are like, what's the word? I guess one-dimensional. Like Darmanitan, Serperior. Serperier's not as one-dimensional, but it is mostly like glare, leech.
Yeah, outside of the top 3, but I feel like that top 3 is like scary enough to
it's definitely scary enough.
Mew,
Celesteela,
too much because Mew gets you anxious in prep, Celesteela gets you anxious in prep, Komo gets you anxious in prep. Like, what are these mons gonna do? Like, all of them can set up. Some of them can be like breakers, and you know all of them can be defensive. Like, all of them can fill very, very different roles.
Yeah, for sure. And I think after Mew, besides maybe like Clefable, Komodo has like so much setup opportunity. Like, it's just top 3 is like
I don't feel like it has
the team.
as much setup opportunity this generation, but I can definitely see it. I don't know. I don't value Como as much as I used to, but I can definitely see it.
It just has a lot of ways to set up with like Iron Defense, D-Dance, Clangorous Soul, Bulk Up, Iron Defense if I haven't said that. I probably get Swords Dance if I remember.
It does get Swords Dance, yeah.
Yeah, it gets a lot of options. Mega Blastoise also has some cool options with like Work Up and Rapid Spin.
Yeah, no Shell Smash.
Muck can curse, which honestly is kind of smart.
I don't know. I just feel like the defog on this, like Mew is definitely forced to be defensive on this team a lot if you want your Como to be like a setup threat. Because you're not going to be bringing Stunfisk and Clefairy every week. So it's either going to be Como or Mew that's going to be your rocker, and that means, you know, one of them isn't doing the other things that they want to do. And same with the defog, because you're going to be forced to bring in Mega Blastoise as an offensive rapid spinner, which it's a very good offensive rapid spinner. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, if Mega Blastoise doesn't have a good matchup, then use your defogger, or you just don't have defog.
Yeah, or if Blastoise is better at doing stuff like Iron Defense Body Press or stuff like that. Like, Mega Blastoise should be doing more than just like Rapid Spin, Water Pulse.
Mm-hmm.
And Superior is okay as a defogger too, but it's also kind of matchup dependent. And same for
So I feel
Swell.
like the
Swell will never
whole.
defog.
So I feel like my points of this thing gets you anxious in prep, this thing gets you anxious in prep. They definitely still hold true, but they don't have nearly as much as an immediate impact as they would otherwise, because you can just bring hazards versus this team, and Mew doesn't like hazards, Steeler doesn't like rocks, Komao doesn't like spikes. Nothing on this team likes taking hazard damage at all, except for Clefairy because it has magic
And
guard.
and the form of recovery on this team with Wish is just Clefairy. I guess Komao can like Drain Punch, but Celesteela relies on Leech Seed. Mega Blastoise only gets like Life Dew, which you should never run.
Also, yeah, and like a lot, it's gonna be running Rest Talk a lot, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. It's not horrible though. I think this team still has its strong points. Like you see the top
still
three.
Has strong points.
You see the top three. You see Blastoise and Darmanitan. Like Darmanitan can like Oko like everything, so almost everything. So that's pretty cool. I think we can probably move on to our number 4, which is Bloop.
Well, I mean, we need to give it a rating.
Oh yeah, what's our rating?
I would give it a 6. I don't know about you. What would you give it?
I think 6.
Alright, so we both agree on 6?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
Alright, so let's move on to Bloop with the Torn T, Bigger Clef, Mega Garchomp, Jirachi, Moltres, Mimikyu, Galarian Slowking, Hitmontop, and Claydol. And
okay. Again, this happens a lot this div. I don't know why. You see Torn T, Clefable, Mega Garchomp, Jirachi, G-King. That's gonna be so strong. Look at this team's type. Look at this how many types this team has. It has 3 Psychic types with no Normal or Dark type, which means you quite literally get 6-0'd by any Ghost type ever. It has no Water Resist whatsoever because you don't have a Water or Grass. So every offensive Water in the world 6-0s you.
Yeah.
Your Ice Resist is good. I won't deny. Jirachi's a very good Pokemon. But it also has no reliable recovery, so it's going to be forced to run defensive pretty much every single week that there's an offensive Ice type.
Yeah. I was actually looking, and I was seeing, like, Cosmic Power Psychic types with, like, stored... Like, all that stored power Psychic type crap. Like, the only way you're going to stop that is, like, Unaware Clef, which could kind of get screwed over by like Toxic.
I mean, Unaware Clef still gets screwed by the fact that the power of stored power is not ignored, so you're still hitting Clefable with a base 140 base power move.
Yeah, and sometimes Clef can't just handle that as easily.
Yeah, Clef is not a breaker. Like, you'd have to bring Choice Specs Unaware Clef to like do any damage to Mew.
Yeah, it can definitely be an issue. I just don't know why there's so many Psychic types, really. There's no water.
The region core seems good. The hazards are fun. They're good. The momentum isn't bad. It's just this team has so many exploitable weaknesses that I feel like you're never gonna get anywhere without one of your mons dying. You're effectively like dying every time a Ghost type breaker, a Water type breaker, just anything of the sort comes in.
Yeah, for
especially
sure.
because the team is so heavily reliant on like Slowpoke, like GK and Clefable, and the point of pivoting is so that you can get another good breaker in, and you have Garchomp. Every time you pivot, a mon of yours is dying because of how exploitable this team is with its type weaknesses.
Yeah, not having a dark, not having a normal water, electric and grass is not like the biggest deal, but definitely not having a normal or dark or water is like kind of yikes. Not even kind of, it's just like huge yikes. Like, I'm not sure if like Lantern is still there, but if you could fit that instead of like
no, Lantern is not on the board.
Is it? Oh yeah, Historically has it. if you're able to get Lantern, it would be like easy replace that over Claydol or something. But
Literally just any water type, any normal type. Just I don't know. Get
anything.
get rid of one. Get rid of the Claydol or something.
Get rid of
You
Claydol
know,
and
get
Mimikyu, and maybe change Hitmontop if you have to, or I don't know.
I don't know. This team needs a lot of fixing, but you know, if you want to roll with this squad, go for it. I'm not, I'm not stopping
We won't
because you know
judge.
I'm not in
You'll
this
probably
division, so I
win.
quite literally do not care.
Bloop's gonna win Initiate this season. Just
You know,
watch.
if you're having fun with the squad, go for it. We're not trying to say, stop having fun. You should do this because, we're the big mean guys and we're trying to change it and fix you. Like, no. If you want to have fun, go have fun. These are just supposed to be fun, you know?
I agree.
We're just trying to we're trying to nitpick because that's the point of these
That's
videos.
the point of PRs. But I think we've kind of torn this apart enough. I just made a
overall, I give it like a 2 out of I give it like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree. I can't give this much more than like a 2. Unfortunately, it has some good mons, just
On
not
to
all
old man
together.
Jinxons. I think that's how you say it. Is it Jinxons? Jenkins? I don't know.
I don't know. I just say old man.
Overall, but yeah, they have Garchomp, Mega Gardevoir, Skarmory, Silvally, Audino, Cinderace. I love Audino and Cinderace. 10 out of 10 team instantly. Scrafty, Araquanid, Thundurus, and Vileplume.
I'm glad you did the recap because I almost called
10 out of
Silvally
10. It has
Sylveon.
Audino and Cinderace, my 2 favorite Pokemon, and it has Mega Gardevoir, which is one of my favorite
Yeah,
Pokemon.
it's like
GG.
this is like a love letter to you. Like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, literally just a love letter. Oh, and Garchomp is in like my top 20 favorite Pokemon too, so.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool squad. Has a lot of good things, I guess. I don't know what I'm really saying, but I really like Garchomp and Mega Gardevoir together. I like that you have Audino and Silvally because Silvally is like just a normal type.
Silvally doesn't like to be the normal type. It likes to use its diversity to the fullest.
That's for sure.
So, I feel like this team's very quote-unquote exploitable weaknesses, like, the freeze dry resists not being good, a bit weak to flying,
Yeah,
like special
fixes that
special flying types not being a problem, rock types being a bit of a problem. If you need Silvally to cover it, it can.
Yeah, for sure. It's not like the best, but to patch like
It's
as
not
many
the best.
holes.
It is very forced to go defensive every week because of that, but I feel like it definitely does cover a lot of what the team needs.
Yeah, for sure. And he doesn't really need
And then,
it to be as offensive.
and for other positives, the speed tiers are good. I like Spike stacking with Skarmory off hyper offense in general. I like it.
I don't like the gap between Silvally and Skarm, but it's not like the worst thing in the world.
It's not the worst thing in the world.
There's not a lot of
There's not a lot of
between
good
there
breakers that are like below 95 speed.
It would be like Rillaboom and then Nidos. That's kind of it.
And
really.
Chandelure.
Yeah, Chandelure as well, I guess. That's kind of it though, and like Assault Vest, Scrafty, or like Audino don't give a crap about Chandelure. Yeah, and he has Thundurus, which is cool. I like Thundurus a lot as like a mixed breaker. It could
I think Garchomp is a core that I like a lot. It prevents Garchomp from just being stonewalled by water types, and it makes up for the fact that this team's grass type is Vileplume,
Yeah.
So, this team breaks water as well, which is very good for the Garchomp and Cinderace that you have on that team, and this team's momentum is also pretty nice. It's not the best, but it's nice.
Yeah, I would say his pivots are at least within like his defensive mons, which is good because then you can actually get in your Mega Gardevoir to click buttons.
Like the things I don't like about the only thing I don't like about this team is the hazards and hazard control.
Yeah, I would agree. I personally I don't like Skarmory.
Very heavily reliant on Skarmory for both your hazards and your hazard removal, which is not something you want on Skarmory. And if you're bringing, Defog, Defensive Silvally, you're not bringing any other Silvally set, which, is good. You have to treat Silvally like sort of a mini Mew. You know, you need to have good
Yeah.
hazards. I mean, good removal. Not good hazards, but you need to have good removal. You
Yeah,
need to
I
you need to have like not many exploitable type weaknesses, so that Soul Valley can just go offensive every week, run sword stance, absolutely
Sword
destroy. You
Dance
know,
Flame Charge. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, the addition of Savali here is good though. At least it
You know,
would be a little
it's
bit
like
better.
it's like a double-edged sword because you have it to cover a lot of your defensive weaknesses and defog, but it's also not being the offensive threat that it can be most of the time, unless there's like a really really exploitable type weakness. Blue.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of the cool thing about Silver Valley. A lot of people in Initiate have a lot of type weaknesses, I think. So I think Old Man will be able to uh, exploit that a lot. He can just see, oh, this guy has no rock switching. Oh, this guy has no ghost switching. I can just flame charge multi attack and clean.
Yeah, you know, like yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I'd overall give it like a 6 out of 10. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it could be stronger, definitely, but overall, I think yeah, 6 out of 10 is pretty fair.
Mhm.
I feel like we've been rating these a little bit low, but that's whatever. So
No.
we can move on
On to
to
Shark Finnegan's team, who has Zapdos, Ursaluna, Slowbro, Cleaver, Spectrier, Roserade, Cobalion, Morgrem, Arcanine, and Umbreon.
yeah, it's definitely an interesting team. I think the first thing I saw when looking at it was that the fairy type is Morgrem, and
Yeah,
I don't think that's the greatest thing ever, but
yeah. The first thing I noticed when looking at this team is that the only removal is Zapdos.
yeah. Zapdos is like the only pivot too, outside of Cobalion. Actually, Cleaver and Slowbro, but um, actually,
Oh no, this
what
team
am I
has good
saying?
ass momentum.
Slowbro, Umbreon.
Like, this team has really, really good momentum just because of Slowbro.
Yeah, I'm just like looking at the Volt Switch and the U-turn. All I saw was Zapdos. I was like, oh,
Oh, and
nah,
also
it's pretty okay
Arcanine.
though.
Arcanine is really good teleport. Like the
Yeah.
momentum is fine. There's no like you don't need to like the momentum is fine. It's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that isn't good enough is the things to pressure dark types on this team because your aforementioned comment, Morgrem is the only fairy, and your fighting type is Cobalion, which you know, Cobalion is decent. You know, I personally hate it, but it can work. I just feel like you need a better fighting type for Spectrier to really pop off as much as you want it to. Although
Yeah.
a lot of teams in this div are very, very weak to ghosts, so you know maybe you just won't need to pressure the dark types in general. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, I just realized
Like
I think
if we're judging this team on in a vacuum though, like yeah, the fact that you're not really able to pressure dark types is a problem with Spectrier.
Mm-hmm. Actually, the one thing I just remembered is I think Cleaver gets defogged too. Not that it makes a huge difference, because I don't think it should ever
Oh yeah,
run
Cleaver
defog
gets defogged. Okay.
because of Scyther, but I don't think he should
Hmm.
ever run that though. Cleaver is usually just you click a button and you get the hell out, like
Yeah.
rock slide U-turn, because it can U-turn now, which is nice, and sheer force with it is pretty cool. I don't know what other coverage it gets. I probably should have looked up that, but like bug
Yeah,
rock.
you know the hazards are also pretty weak because Cobalion Roserade, you know, it's not bad. It's just you know a bit underwhelming. You know,
I find-
teams aren't going to really be worried about hazards
Yeah.
as much as they usually are on this team.
I kind of find Roserade to be pretty matchup dependent. Cobalion, I think you can kind of slap onto every team. It's not like great, but like Volt Switch plus Rocks is nice. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's a bit of a struggle there. But I think the other pieces are great. Like you got the Trick Room, Teleport Slowbro, and
Yeah,
Luna.
yeah, that's what I was going to talk about next. Like
Hmm.
after all these negatives, you know, we haven't really gotten into the positives of this team, and I think the biggest one is just the amazing build around Ursaluna. This team is amazingly built around Ursaluna. Like, Ursaluna is
sure.
going to be destroying this division
Hmm.
because you have the Trick Room pivot into Ursaluna. You also have Zapdos to break Rocky Waters for Ursaluna. You also have Slowbro to like switch into Slowbro and Zapdos to switch into fighting types. And then for like ghost types that don't like facade, you have Umbreon, which isn't great at breaking them, but
Yeah.
it can definitely wall most of them. And yeah, this team doesn't have much to like actually hit the ghost types, but it can. I don't know. I feel like a Jellicent might. Not Jellicent, bad example, but like I don't know. Not many fat ghost types exist, thankfully. So
And Jellicent, I don't
feel like
think
this
is.
team. I feel like this team will be fine.
Jellicent is not going to appreciate like a Thunder Punch from Ursaluna anyway, so. I
Yeah,
think
Ursaluna's just a monster.
from that standpoint, I kind of like that. I think the only gripe I really have is like the lack of hazard removal and Morgram is your fairy. I'm not really sure how you would fix that.
Those are my problems too. But like, not just that Morgram is the fairy, but more the problem that Spectrier really struggles on this team as well because of Morgram.
Yeah, somewhat.
I can definitely see Ursaluna like popping off on this team, so discredit this team immediately just because of the weaknesses that it has. So overall, I'll give it like a 6.5,
Yeah, I like a 6.5. I think actually if I want to make a suggestion, I'd say maybe try and make Roserade Roselia and then make Moragram like a different fairy.
Mm-hmm.
Could even just go.
I like
could even go like Grimmsnarl. It's not like the greatest thing ever, but it's better than Morgram.
Or get like a fairy type with stealth rocks. I don't know what fairy types get stealth rocks that aren't Diancie, but get one of those.
Tough. Yeah, it's a pretty cool squad though, and we're actually on to like the 30 minute.
I like it. I definitely look forward to what Shark can do with it.
It's actually been fun watching his games so far. I watched his week 1, and I was like, wow, this team is just like
no spoilers.
It just kind of goes crazy with the Slowbro and the Urshifu.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Called Urshifu now.
I don't want to spoil.
So, did you put
Next up is Joshua's team, who has the GOAT, Mega Mawile, Rillaboom, Latios, Mandibuzz, Magmortar, Jellicent, Gleezing, Jolteon, Steelix, Porygon 2, and Primeape. This team's amazing. I love this team so much. And it's not just because it has a Mega Mawile on it. I love Mega Mawile, but it's not just because it has Mega Mawile on it. It's because of how beautifully built it is around the Mega Mawile. You have the Mawile, Rillaboom, Latios, which are incredible breakers for Mawile to really build around, because Rillaboom breaks all the water types and Latios breaks, it pressures other. Mawile pressures the things that Latios doesn't like. And then it has beautiful momentum with Mandibuzz and Rillaboom, which, and Porygon 2. Yeah, Porygon 2 just instantly makes the team's momentum beautiful.
Yeah, Jolteon and Primeape are also pretty cool, and Magmortar gets teleport.
Oh yeah, Magmortar gets teleport. Right.
Not that it runs.
And then you have Jellicent and Gleezing, so that Mawile doesn't have to be your fighting resist. Gleezing is also a secondary fairy type, and also a ground type switch-in, and also a fantastic Rillaboom check, which is just mwah, to have it on the same team as Rillaboom. And I don't know. I just love this team. I really, really, really love this team.
Yeah, I love how it backs up.
Team in this entire division, I would draft this one.
Yeah, I think me too, actually. I really like Rillaboom and Mandibuzz. I'm not the biggest fan of Mega Mawile, but you do cover it really well with Weezing and Steelix as secondary Steel and Fairy. I think Primeape is also really underrated.
Speaking of Steelix, the only thing keeping this team from being like a 10 out of 10 is the rockers and the hazards in general. It's only Steelix and Mawile, and you don't want to be running like Stealth Rocks on Mawile, and you're not going to be bringing Steelix every week.
I think Mawile is actually a pretty good rocker, but it doesn't want to have to slot on rocks, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And then that's also especially bad because you're giving everyone recovery with your Rillaboom. It's going to be like you're going to be barely missing KOs because of all the passive recovery that you and your opponent is getting. You're probably getting pressured by rocks and they aren't,
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Mandibuzz and Weezing are great cloggers too.
I don't value speed tiers as much as other people do. So if I had to change one thing on this team, I would change Primeape to be like a low tier rocker, because that gives you a big speed gap, but is Primate really like something that people are gonna respect in prep? I really don't think so. So I feel like having the the extra rocks pressure would be better instead of wasting your points on Primate.
I think Primeape is better off not being respected in prep because when you do bring it, that thing just like goes crazy. Like if you can predict like some non-flying type to click defog, Primeape can just like kind of a win with like close combat from Defiant. You could also probably pull off some pretty cool anger point stuff too. I kind of hope that he does that.
Oh my god, with Urshifu? Yeah, holy.
That'd be really funny. But yeah, I think we can move on. What's the score that you want to give Joshua?
I'm tempted to give this thing to give this team a 9, to give this team a 10, but I'm gonna give it a 9 for now.
I think I agree with the 9 for probably the points that you stated why the rockers aren't as great. Defog could be.
But the rest of the team is perfect, honestly. Like this team has no glaring weaknesses like most other teams do. This team is beautifully built around Mawile, has good enough momentum. Again, just I'm starting like to sound like a broken record. So
yeah. So let's move on to Martin. I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. My bad.
I'll speak for you. It's okay.
All right.
They have Tapu Koko, Zygarde, Heatran, Keldeo, Zarude, Nidoking, Noivern, Empoleon, and Mesprit. Another team that I absolutely love. I adore this team.
Oh yeah, when he was drafting this and I saw that his worst mon is Mesprit, I was like, wow. This is kind of insane.
Yeah, this team is beautifully built around Tapu Koko, just like the other one,
Mm-hmm.
You drafted Nidoking, which is one of the best Koko checks in the game. You also drafted Zygarde, which, is one of the grounds that actually loses to Tapu Koko.
Yeah,
and then you drafted Heatran, so bulky grasses are not a problem. And then Keldeo to break bulky ground types, Zarude to switch into said bulky ground types, and of the Keldeo and Empoleon double water, 1 defensive, 1 offensive. And this is Roost Empoleon, so this is not like an Empoleon that's getting worn down by every fire type in the game,
And like,
and
it has. I think it has
a lot of these with fire types.
I think Empoleon has 4 move slot syndrome, but I think the fact that it has Roost it makes it so that it's actually a good water type finally.
Mm-hmm.
And he still has Keldeo, so yeah, it's a pretty cool team there. I don't know if I really like Noivern as much, but considering like the rest of the team is like this insane, I really like it.
Mm-hmm. And then this team is also beautifully built around Zygarde. Like Heatran is one of the best Zygarde partners in the game, in my opinion, because bulky grass types are not a problem, bulky bug types are not a problem, except for Buzzwole. But Buzzwole is Buzzwole. That will always be a problem for this team, no matter what happens. And then yeah, like it's just Heatran that makes it beautifully built around Zygarde, honestly.
Yeah. Also, I think doesn't Mesprit get Recover, or is that Uxie or Azelf?
Oh, Mesprit does get Recover. Wait, I forgot. Wait, you're right. Wait, that makes this team even better. Holy. I can't.
Yeah, I just realized that.
Gio told me not to swear.
Yeah, I'd say like the one thing this team doesn't have is like Wish. You don't really need that though. Like your only mons that don't. The only mons on this team that appreciate a Wish are like Nidoking and Heatran. The rest of them don't.
And Zygarde,
and
like
Zygarde,
not having a cleric with Zygarde is a bit iffy, but like I feel like choice band Zygarde or like a very offensive DDM Zygarde will go off. Like bulky Zygarde is unfortunately not going to be as good of a set as it usually is on this team, but
I can see.
I feel like it's definitely still going to. Like Bandit is going to do a lot of work on this team. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see Bandit or like sub DD or whatever. He can do anything with Zygarde. I think a lot of people kind of crap on Zygarde for being like not Garchomp, but I personally really like Zygarde. As
I love Zygarde. I can use Zygarde better than I can use Garchomp. I don't think it's better than
Same.
Garchomp, but I can definitely use it better than I can use Garchomp.
Same for me. I
So,
can't
you
use
know, it
Garchomp.
holds a special place in my heart for that reason.
Yeah. So what would you rate this
And
team? I know you have
I
pre-rankings, but
would,
because of Mespra, I don't know if you want to change that.
oh, I would, I'm rating this team a 9.
I can get behind
Like,
that. I
this
think
team,
the one
I didn't
thing,
even go into the rockers. Like, the rockers are really reliable, which is especially incredible when Zygarde is a ground type that doesn't get stealth rocks. So
yeah,
I love the double ground just because of that. And then
removal
you
is
know
also
the
great too.
removal could be better. Like it's kind of the only thing keeping this thing from like a 10 out of 10 perfect team. But like honestly, I might give this team like a 9.5 because that's really the only problem it has,
Hmm.
right? Like
I
what else
like
do I
that
have in
Zarude
mind?
is the dark type. Otherwise, I'd say not having a normal type is a bit iffy for me. But because you have
Yeah,
Zarude,
that
I think you're
is iffy,
fine.
but like, yeah, I think I'll be fine just because it is a rude. Like Gengar will win with versus this team, but like that's about it. And
Not
even
even
then,
like
you know,
Empoleon.
Gengar cannot OHKO Heatran unless it's at like +2,
Yeah, I don't think it can
and this
OHKO
team,
Empoleon either.
yeah,
Plus, like
and
Scarf
then
Zarude.
Napoleon can then knock off, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Empoleon's a good enough defogger along with Noivern. Coco, even I think Coco is actually a decent defogger too. I don't know why, but I end up
I don't
wanting
think
to defog Coco
you
a
don't
few
want it to run
times.
defog though. Is the thing.
No, you don't want to. It's just it's not the worst option.
Like just because of those I mean, it has little glaring weaknesses, but they barely matter. So
Yeah,
like
no,
I feel
this
like this team
team.
is 9. I feel like this team is just a 9, you know?
I think a 9 is perfect.
Fantastic
Okay.
job with this team, Martin.
So next up we
For
got
your first, for your
Hysteric
first
Ollie.
team, congratulations. You got a really, really good one.
Yeah, so we got Mega Gallade, Gliscor, Hydreigon, Scissor, Sylveon, Lantern, Miltank, Greninja, Gourgeist, Muck, and Swirlix. I love this. I love this so much.
I love this team as well. Just 3 incredible teams back to back to back. And these are like the dead middle spots. Like Joshua was 8th, Martin was 9th. Wait, no. Joshua was 7th,
These
Martin
aren't.
was 8th, and Hysterically was 9th out of 14. Like, those are 2 dead middle teams.
Oh,
And this one is like
oh, you mean
the
you mean
least
in
away
draft
from the
order?
middle.
For a second I thought you were talking about like in PR order. I was like, wait, what?
No, like
No, it's
draft
just in
order. Like
draft
these are
order.
dead
Yeah.
middle teams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is like Jag's old team.
So you know, goes to prove that you know draft spot is not everything. You know.
Right. A lot of stuff will just fall to you for no reason. It just depends, I guess. Um,
Now onto the team itself. This team is really, really good. I like this team a lot.
I think the one thing I don't really care too much about is like maybe Muck Greninja. I think
Muck
Greninja's
being
great, but I value having a fire type sometimes. That's just my thing though. But Greninja overall, I think
this
fits
would
really well.
definitely makes sense, but like I feel like Lantern, Hydreigon are like good enough fire resists for that to not ultimately be a problem. And then you
Yeah.
also have Miltank, which resists everything a fire would resist, like the important things, which are fire and ice. So I feel
Mhm.
like thick fat Miltank is enough to cover for Scizor without
Yeah,
needing
definitely.
a fire type. Like Miltank is effectively defensively a fire type, which is weird to say. You know, Miltank quite literally is just beef. You know.
Yeah, pretty much. Um, yeah, the only reason I say like Greninja is because he could upgrade Muck to like I don't know Salazzle maybe, but Greninja
I mean,
overall
I don't
is
know. No,
it's
I
good.
think like Greninja. I would like a different low tier poison type that isn't Muck, just because of toxic spikes. But you know, I also realize. Wait, no, Greninja gets T spikes. Oops, never mind.
There's not a lot of good low tier poisons unless you went with like Roselia,
Mhm.
but past Roselia it's like Muck and Swalot.
Yeah,
I think Muck
no,
is fine though.
I feel like because you have Greninja as a T spiker, it's good enough. I just don't like that. You know, you kind of just lose to Fairy plus Fire coverage. Because your only other fairy
Yeah.
resist is Scizor, and Muck is like not good enough
hmm
of a fairy check.
Yeah, luckily you have Sylveon, but I think things like Clefable will give this team a lot of issues. It just depends, kinda.
Hmm.
I think he.
Depends on like how he plays it, but I definitely can see, this team otherwise just kind of destroys any other team.
Yeah, for sure. We haven't even really talked
Like
about like the good
the
parts.
top five are amazing. Then there's
Yeah,
just Greninja, Miltank. Like this team's just really really good.
yeah, I
I feel like
agree.
the flying resist could be better than Lantern, but I think like Lantern's enough to handle stuff like Tornadus, Therian, you know?
Yeah, you handle Torn, you handle Celesteela. Like, sure, Lantern's a low tier, but it's one of those low tiers where it's really good versus those.
Versus the rest of the like, it's a very anti-Metamon.
Yeah, pretty much like Lantern and Stunfisk
Mm-hmm.
anti-meta. I like it.
A lot, yeah.
What would you score
So,
this?
I just realized that's Spike's Gliscor with Mega Glade.
Yup.
And this team has a lot of reliable spiking with Greninja and Gliscor, so I like it even more than I used to, but I still would only give this team like an 8.5 due to the bit of a fairy weakness.
Yeah, if there was some way to make Muck better, like Muck plus Swirlix, I would say it would be like pretty close to 9 or like a 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly because of the fairy weakness is what I would mark it on.
Yeah.
Especially when your
But
top
this
is High
team
Dragon.
is still amazing hysterically. Good job on drafting this.
For sure. Moving on, we got Farmer Fox. If my thing wants
It's
to load.
Landorus Incarnate, Megalophony, Weavile, Entei, Blastoise, Chestnut, Magnezone, Espeon, Comfey, Garbodor, Shuckle.
Why is there so much red? like
There
like
is a lot
not
of
like
red.
the type weaknesses. I'm just like the mons all have like a lot of red and pink.
I mean, even the type weaknesses have a lot of red. To be
that
fair,
too though. And it's just something
I
I
mean,
noticed.
it's not really like it's a problem for most of these because Chestnut is a really good ground resist. I feel.
Yeah, I think if there's like if you could add one mon on your team that's like if you have a major ground weakness, it should be Chestnut or Buzzwole.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, you got like Magnet
I
Rise,
think the
Magneton.
problem, the biggest problem I have with this team is that your hazards are that your rockers are Shuckle and Lando.
He has good spikes users though. Most of the time,
I
I'd say
mean,
Rock is better,
Garbodor and
but
Chestnut are
spikes.
good, but I just don't feel like you're bringing them to like as many weeks as you would want, and you're pretty much forced to bring Lando as your rocker 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Which, I'm not the biggest fan of.
I mean, you don't have to
And
bring
also
rocks.
your flying weakness is pretty bad. But I feel like I feel like because you have Weavile, flying types aren't that much of a problem.
Yeah, and Magnezone quarter resists all flying types. The only
Maximum isn't exactly like the best flying resist, but it works.
yeah, and it's just I think it probably struggles only with like what Torn and Zapdos with like the heat waves, and I guess Swellow. But I guess make it Pidgeot too. Why do a lot of flying types get fire coverage? It's weird. But you also get like Entei with super strong with like extreme speed and sacred fire. Blastoise does a lot of crap too. So does Comfey. And Espeon's pretty cool too, actually. As like kind of an anti-hazards mon. So you don't have to...
I don't like Espeon in general though. Like I really don't like Espeon in general because like it's just too frail. Like they're just better psychic types. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of Espeon, but
it's not bad. I'm just saying
it can work on this.
Kind of like a decent anti-hazards mon. But
I guess, yeah.
This team has some really good pieces.
Anti-hazards, Comfey, Lando, and Blastoise isn't the best debug, but it can work.
Oh yeah, I just realized that. Blastoise and Comfey are like the defog. I would never own defog Lando. Maybe Stealth Rock, but probably never defog. Blastoise as a spinner's fine. You have a lot of offense with like the top 4 and like Magnezone, Espeon, Comfey, so you could definitely get away with defensive Blastoise a lot. You can also get away with breaking stuff so that Shell Smash can win. So I think Blastoise has a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. Overall, I'd give this team like. What would I give this team? I'll give it like a 6. I just feel like Shuckle land, like your hazards are a big problem. Your removal can be a bit of a problem. Lando's really your only special breaker, except for like Magnezone, which, oh, I don't know. I feel like Magnezone is very exploitable.
I think
And then
Espeon can
Espeon,
break, but meh.
I just don't pay attention to Espeon. I don't know.
You really don't like Espeon.
Like, I really don't like Espeon in draft, honestly. I just don't think it's a good mon, but, you know, feel free to prove me wrong, honestly. Like, feel free to, like, call me out on my bullcrap. Feel free to prove me wrong. Like, ping me after Espeon pops off in a game, and I will apologize, you know? I will apologize for shaming Espeon.
Yeah, I do appreciate that he has my mascot, by the way, Chestnut, shoutouts. And he has my IRL version of Pokemon, Garbodor. That's just me.
Hey, don't say that.
Yeah. Wait, what do you get this team again? 6.5?
I would give it a 6, just a 6.
Okay.
Did you give it a 6.5? Like,
I think you could do. The thing I saw with this team is like you bring your top 2 and like Weavile, but the rest is like not a lot of these mons like to come to every game. Even Weavile sometimes, because of Weavile's defensive typing, doesn't like to come to every game. So I could see a problem with him not being able to, like, not having to bring all 6 of his mons. But he has a lot of options.
Yeah, no, you know, that's like a double-edged sword, you know? Like, on one hand, you're not bringing your big threats to every game, but on the other, you're very versatile.
You don't have 6 mon syndrome, at least. Which, in most cases, I think it's worse than having 2 mon syndrome. So yeah, I think we can move on to GDP. Or, I'm sorry, Dr. GDP. Who has the Tapu Fini, Landorus Therian, Raikou, A12's favorite Pokemon. Infernape, Mega Venusaur, Registeel, Azelf, Galarian Moltres, Avalugg, Pyukumuku, and Dracloak. What do you think of this?
This team I feel like is actually like pretty good. The only problem I can see with this team so far is that like I feel like Taunt shuts a lot of its defensive, like low tier defensive pieces down. And you know, I'm not saying like Tapu Fini gets shut down by Taunt because, you know, like it's not every week it's gonna be running like Iron Defense, Call Mine, cheese you, haha, GG. But like, you know, it can run Specs, it can run Scarf. You know, you should not consider Tapu Fini like a passive Pokemon because it's not. And then you know, Lando has U-turn, but like I feel like things like Registeel get exploited. Pyukumuku, I feel like does better in a bottom div setting, but you know.
For sure. I think Pyukumuku is hard for a lot of people to kill. But I think, unfortunately, other than Tapu Fini, you don't really have a cleric to keep Pyukumuku healthy. Unless, actually, I think it gets
the lack of a Wish user is also like a big weakness of this team because Tapu Fini has no reliable recovery outside of lefties. Same with Lando. Like,
Raikou.
Mega Venusaur only has Leech Seed, or Registeel only has lefties. Like,
Venusaur
I feel like this team also has the same problem as what's his name? Jeg, where knockoff just screws a lot of this team's mons. I don't think it's as bad because I feel like Mega Venusaur is a better knockoff switch in. Infernape isn't like reliant on its item. Same with Raikou. But like, I don't know. I feel like this team still doesn't appreciate knockoff very much, especially with Tapu Fini being the fairy type. But
yeah, you don't.
I feel like it's past that. What I don't feel like this team can push past though is like ghost types overwhelming Galarian Moltres, because that is your only ghost resist, and that thing does not get roost.
I wouldn't say you're weak to ghost though. I think I disagree with you there. Like, especially defensive Venusaur can switch into like most ghost types except maybe Spectrier and like Psychic Gengar or something. But I don't think that's like the biggest issue. And Moltres
That's
handles
fair.
most, to be fair. But Moltres in general, I think usually likes to run like Nasty Plot, Fire, Hurricane,
Setup sets, yeah.
Agility, Rest, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Which, actually no, never mind. I was gonna say because of Tapu Fini, it can't rest, but it's flying, so it doesn't matter.
It is flying, so you can run rest, yeah.
Yep. I think I like this squad though.
Landos, so.
If he had,
Yeah, I like this squad a lot.
if there was a cleric, like you could easily replace like those last 3 mons for like a cleric. I wouldn't say to get rid of Pikumuku, because I think that thing's funny, because it's Larry.
Yeah.
But you could probably add like a cleric.
It's our Lord and Savior. Why would we ever want to get rid of him?
Right? What would you score with this?
I would give this team a 7. I don't know about you.
I like a 7. I just look at those top 5 and I'm like, that's kind of bulky, but also really strong.
Mm-hmm.
So I can
like,
see
I don't
things...
know. I feel like the removal is also a bit weak on this team because Tapu Fini and Lando like to be diverse. They're very forced to like defog on this team because obviously you're not bringing Avalugg to every game, and a lot of rockers threaten Avalugg.
Yeah, for sure. But it's not.
But I still feel like this team's offense is gonna be good enough to, push past all of that.
Yeah, I agree. But I think we can move on to... I'm just gonna call him Hurt.
I'm just gonna call them because they go by they.
Oh, is it they them? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it is they them. Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
So, yep, we got Mega Scissor, Kyurem, Togekiss, Incineroar, Tangrowth, Swampert, Starmie, Nihilego, Hariyama, Misdreavus, Furfuru. This team is kind of basic, but I like it.
I mean, I wouldn't call it basic. It just has very good fundamentals.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, well, I wouldn't call.
Oh, okay.
Starmie,
it's just like saying basic,
I'd say basic because
it's just harsh,
It's just like a lot of popular mons I see, besides like the bottom 3, but they're all really solid.
I love Mega Scizor, Kyurem, Nihilego, Swampert. Like that's just nasty. And then Tangrowth on top of that, so that the fact that Mega Scizor is your bug type doesn't mean that you don't have a ground resist, and then that's also really good with Nihilego and stuff. So I like this team a lot. It just has good pivoting. It's very annoying. Like Mega Scizor plus Swampert is such an annoying core to fight. And then this team also has very good special breakers with Kyurem and Nihilego, so like water types are not a problem despite not having like an electric type,
Yeah, I agree. I think the one thing I don't really like is maybe like Furfuru. I like Hariyama, but I think you could
Okay. HXRT. I don't know how to say your name, but HXRT, if you are watching this video, get rid of Furfuru and get Vigoroth. This is my Vigoroth propaganda. Get Vigoroth, not Furfuru.
I was gonna say get rid of Furfuru, maybe Hariyama for Beware.
No, Hariyama's goated, and it's also this team's only other physical breaker outside of
Beware is a physical breaker.
I mean, it's more of a wall most of the time. I feel like Hariyama's just better, and it also gives you another fire resist.
Yeah, I guess Beware's a fire weakness as opposed to a fire resist, which I don't think fire is like the.
I mean, I don't think this team is very weak to fire like at all. This team's just very well built around fire types not being a problem, but I still feel like Hariyama's better on this team than a lot of others.
Also, wasn't Misdreavus like 3 points?
No, Misdreavus is 2.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say if Misdreavus was like 3 points, I feel like you could probably replace that for like Haunter or something.
Vigoroth should be 3 points.
Fair.
Again, I'm just saying, get the Vigoroth.
Yeah.
If you lose a game with Furfuru, drop that thing instantly for Vigoroth. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, also what I noticed is that your defog is Togekiss Scissor, and then you got Rapid Spin Starmie, which isn't great.
Yeah, that's a bit of a problem, but I feel like it's very, like,
it's manageable.
Starmie's a very reliable spinner.
I don't know why, but as of recent, I found Scissor to be like a really good defogger. It shouldn't ever
Yeah,
be clicking defog,
Caesar's just a good
but
pivot. It does whatever you want it to.
pretty
And this
much.
team really just opened because of this team's many special breakers. I feel like Mega Scissor is gonna be like forced, not forced, but it's very happy to go either offensive or defensive, and you have to be really scared of that.
Yeah, it has a lot of options on this team. I don't think
Like,
Togekiss is
if
the worst.
Joshua's team
defog.
didn't exist, this would be the team that I would like draft. This is like the second team that I would draft in a heartbeat if Joshua's team just didn't exist.
I like this. I like that you have Swampert as a bulky water with
Swampert's just a
Starmie.
go. I don't know how you got that late of a Swampert, but I'm glad you did.
Yeah, I don't know either. There's a lot of mons on here where I'm like, I don't know how you got that so late. But
Yeah, Nihila goes as well, Starmie.
I think Hariyama is great though. I don't see Hariyama drafted as often, but I kind of hope to see it pop
It's still
off.
a great mon. I like it.
For sure. What would you rate this?
I would rate this team a 8.5 or 9. I'm leaning towards 9, but that may be my Mega Scissor bias. But I'm also
I
leaning
also
towards an
have Mega
8.5
Scissor.
because Furfur is not a Vigoroth. It is not a Vigoroth. Like objectively, I would rate this a 9.
I would say a 9. I kind of wish there was an electric type maybe, but you don't.
It has Kyurem.
Yeah,
has
you have
Kyurem.
Kyurem and
This team does
Nihiligo.
not need an electric type. It has Kyurem.
Yeah, you have no. Yeah, I'm saying like you have Kyurem Nihiligo. You don't need an electric. It would just been nice to have one maybe, but it's whatever.
No, I disagree. Agree to disagree, but
Yeah, that's fair. Also, did we rate GDP's team? We did. Okay.
Yeah, we did.
Alright, so we actually think only have 2 people left. Up next
Only
we got
2 teams left.
Yep, we got Omnic Fenrir with the Minnesota Mamoswine, with Mega Diancie, Zeraora, Melmetal, Crocodile, Rotom Heat, Vaporeon, Galarian Zapdos, Serena, Cincino, and Quilladin.
I say Chinchino.
I don't know how to say it.
I say Chinchino. Chinchino and Quilladin.
Okay. This is a bit interesting.
Okay, this is a very interesting team because from the first 3, you would be like, this team is gonna be amazing, and then Crocodile, good pursuiter, Rotom Heat. Like, this team is very top heavy, and I would like it, except if you go to the fighting resists,
It's Zapdos.
it's just Zapdos. Like, if that was regular Zapdos, this would be a completely different conversation. But that is Zapdos, a Zapdos that does not get roosts.
Yeah. I'm not really sure why there's Serena and Quilladin, but if you could make that like a low tier Psychic or Poison,
Yeah,
then
this
I'd
team
go
is
for
very.
that.
This team is like, allergic to Toxic Spike.
This team needs a Glowbro so bad.
Oh my god. I mean, honestly, if you get rid of Serena, you're getting rid of like your Rapid Spin, which
Yeah, this team
your
doesn't
only
have.
removal is Rotom Heat and Serena, so I'd much rather get rid of that Quilladin. But if you do get rid of that Quilladin, then you're only left with Diancie and Crocodile as your hazard setters. So this team's hazards and hazard control isn't exactly the best either.
Nah, I think Rotom and Serena are great, but they don't want to do that. Nor do they have like the longevity to keep rocks
Longevity.
off. But you also, yeah, I don't know why it's late. But Mega Diancie also has Magic Bounce, which kind of helps. But Mega Diancie also loses to like
It
every
helps a
rocker.
lot, but I don't think you want to like deliberately be switching in Diancie into a lot of hazard setters because most rockers are ground type.
Yeah, ground, rock, steel, grass, psychic, whatever. Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle there, but at the same time, you're also not that weak to rocks. Like, other than Rotom Heat, there's no rock weakness, which is nice. And a lot of the mons here actually like running boots, like Zeraora and Rotom. I think Serena runs boots sometimes. Vaporeon can run boots versus like hazard heavy team, which to a point would make this team kind of knockoff weak. but I don't think it's a
No,
huge
I
deal
mean,
with
Mega
Melmetal.
Diancie is a good knockoff switch in. Really just depends on what's clicking knockoff.
Yeah, Mega Diancie, Melmetal, Gyapdos, decent knockoff switch-ins. If you're not scarfing or if you're not scarfing Gyapdos, which you don't have to scarf Gyapdos because you also have Crook to scarf.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Cincino could be a decent scarfer too. And
no. I mean,
I faced
maybe.
a scarf Cincino like 2 days ago, and that thing popped off. But that's just versus me. Rotom Heat could also scarf, I guess. But you'll probably want to run boots, considering.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this team's top mons, like Mega Diancie, Zero, Melmetal, Gyapdos, Crook, and then all the defensive pieces, like everything until Cinccino, essentially, is going to be able to really carry this team to the top.
Yeah, for sure. This team.
Omnic is gonna have to work very, very hard for it, Because you have to overcome a lot of weaknesses. So, if their opponents can exploit that, then I feel like the team's gonna struggle.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how you could fix the team in terms of adding a better fighting switch in, but I think you can work it out pretty well.
Yeah, so overall I give this team a 6.5. What do you think?
Yeah, I think a 6.5 is fair.
And then for our very last team of today, hopefully, how long have we been recording for?
1 hour and 6 minutes.
Oh, alright. Well, it's not as long as last season's, which were 2 hours long for Initiate.
And the Disciples was 40 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
alright, well, for the very last team, we have Very Charjabug with Ferrothorn, Blacephalon, Rotom Wash, Hoopa Unbound, Dracovish, Dugtrio, Indeedee, Hawlucha, Ribombee, and obviously the Charjabug.
So, not to shame, because this team is really funny to me, but I kind of wish this team had a pick one.
Yeah, if this team had a pick one, then maybe we'd be having a different conversation,
I feel
but
like he didn't
your highest tiered mon is Rotom Wash.
I mean, at least he has Hoopa Unbound and Dracovish.
Is it Rotom Wash? I just want to make absolute sure. Is it Rotom Wash?
I think Rotom Wash, Pharaoh, and Blacephalon.
Okay, it is a 6-way tie. No, it is a. Oh wait, no, it's Hawlucha. Hawlucha's 15.
Oh, Hawlucha's the highest tiered mon? Wow.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no offense, but that's how you know something is wrong. no offense meant. Again, these are just for fun. We are just nitpicking everything. You can absolutely win with this if you play well enough.
This team does look really fun.
That's how you know there's a problem.
This team looks really fun, at least. Just being able to trap crap.
Yeah, I'm not gonna shred into this team. I think the problems are obvious enough, and honestly, I think this team is still better than Bloops. It actually has all of the essential types except for I guess poison, but that's not really essential. That's more just and anti T spikes.
Anti T spikes and a fighting fairy switch in. Which you have.
Yeah, and fairy switch-ins are rough because it's only Ferrothorn and Blacephalon. But again, I'm not gonna shred into this team because this is obviously just meant to be I'm just trying to have fun. This is my first draft league. I'm trying to know what to get used to, etc., etc. And I'm not. This is your first draft. What I would personally recommend you do in the future is get a good top tier core. It doesn't even need to be all top tier mons. I'm just saying, get one round one pick, which is usually around the 18 to 16 point range, and then build something around that,
Yeah, I wouldn't ever just grab Ferrothorn round one, because no one's going to pick up Ferrothorn round one, trust me. Well, this was a wheel pick, so I think
you can get Ferrothorn round two even, I just feel you really need to have something supporting that Ferrothorn that isn't just, Dracovish,
Mm-hmm.
But I will give this team credit. It does have a lot of versatility. Like, there's a lot of modes on this team. You know, you have Doug Trio plus Dracovish. So, you know, I trap your ground type, Dracovish wins. I trap your fairy type, Hoopa and Halucha just win. I trap your fighting resists, and DD plus Lucha just wins. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this team is definitely like really fun with Doug Trio. So I feel like Doug Trio is definitely gonna be a huge part of what this team of like a huge contributor to this team, you know?
Yeah, I think Indeedee is
There's a
also
lot of
pretty
mods
underrated
that just
too.
kind of insta win if you trap them with Doug Trio. You know, plus you trap the Suicune that's like at low health with Doug Trio after it kills your
Yeah,
your Dracovish. You know, you kill Suicune takes a Vicious Rend, you take Rocky Helmet, and then you die to like an Ice Beam or something.
yeah. I could also
Suicune
see
is
Doug
chipped. You
Trio.
come in with your choice. You come in with your choice band Doug Trio. You kill the Suicune and you win with Blacephalon. You know, I feel like that's gonna be a lot of the
Yeah,
team's
you could also.
end game. You know, trap
Yeah,
something and win.
yeah. There's a lot of breakers. I can see him even going like, if he doesn't want to bring Halucha, he could also just kind of win with Indeedee sometimes. If you trap like the dark type, you can just spam like expanding force with like the
Yeah, and
choice
if you trap the
specs
Dark
or
type,
the
then
spark.
Blacephalon plus DD goes really, really hard.
And if you get sticky web up too, like if your opponent
Mm-hmm.
can't run boots, sticky web plus like specs and DD after the dark type is gone, that's like kind of insane. Any of Blacephalon to
Yeah.
like destroy
So
steel
while this
types.
is a very, very flawed team, I will give it credit. It's not, you know, like it's actually pretty good because of
Yeah,
that Doug Trio mode that you have. Like this is
this looks like
like
a fur.
I give this team more credit than like most other people would. Like honestly, I would give it a 4 out of 10. Like it doesn't
Um,
have very much momentum, but this team is very much like meant to be like you sack something to me so that I sack something and trap it with Doug Trio so this Pokemon wins.
I see a lot of games
I
just
feel like
being
that
lead.
game plan in bottom div is gonna get this team very far.
I could see this team just like lead Rabombi or Charjabug. You could even like Quiver Dance with Rabombi because Charjabug can webs too,
Hmm.
which could be fun, especially if your opponent doesn't bring a Steel type because they see Doug Trio plus Halucha and Blacephalon, then like Rabombi can Quiver Dance and win. There's just a lot of ways to win. Like it's definitely for sure like one of the worst teams PRs wise, but
I mean, I wouldn't say
I
one of
can
the
see
well,
this
okay,
team.
it is the second lowest rated, but it's not a bad team.
No, no, no. It's not a bad team. I'm just saying, like, it's for what we're rating it. I
I
can
think
see
second
this.
worst.
I
I
can
just
see
think
this winning
second
a lot.
worst is being a little too harsh, you know? Because like it's not like okay, it is factually true. I'm just saying, you know, I feel like that's a harsh way of putting it.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's kind of funny that everything after Ferrothorn and like maybe Rotom Wash is just like offense.
Yeah, honestly, like yeah, I give this team a lot more credit than other people would. Like honestly, I'd give it a 4.5 or even just a 4. I'll give it just a 4 because I feel like that's more
I think a
justifiable.
4 is fair.
And yeah, with that said, that's all the teams. Good job to everyone this season, and I hope everybody has fun with the teams that they have. We hope that these PRs maybe help you get some ideas for some transactions or, you know, give you a bit of an ego boost for the rest of the season because that confidence is going to be useful. Like, no joke, that confidence goes far. Attitude is, you know, the brain, you know, the battle itself is just half the battle. You have to actually, like, have the attitude to win.
Yeah, I agree. And if anyone watching wants to reach out to any of the mods, everyone is happy to help you guys with fixing your team or prepping or
Hmm.
anything, mocks,
And
whatever.
And remember, I'm always here for anybody who has any questions, anybody who would like some prep help. You know, obviously, I'm not going to be free all the time. I have my own matches to do as well, and I'm just like getting busy in general. But you know, if you ever need help, feel free to reach out to me. I would love it.
Yeah, same for me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching me and Franny talk over each other for like an hour and a half, but
Hey,
it is what it
okay,
is.
okay.
But it was fun.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there.
All right, thank you guys for
We
watching.
hope you all have a good night, everyone.